They look like tanks.
We don't like to be called tanks. You know, we're not tanks, but
You're gonna kick
I
my
get
ass
it.
now. Well, this is an interesting one. This is a very interesting one. You, Chris Dunn, is an actual war veteran from Iraq. Today we're going to be talking about Warfare, a movie I hadn't seen this year until I talked to you about it. And I saw it last night, and here we go.
Dying to hear what you have to say about it.
Right, so here we go.
Look for the blood in the smoke.
The thing that came as a surprise to me was that the movie really doesn't have a broad narrative. It doesn't have a lengthy narrative. It is real time. It's like 90 minutes. It's a short war film, might be one of the shortest war films of all time. It's essentially a siege in one building in a Iraqi town, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's 7-8 soldiers in a house that are trying to escape. After occupying this house, the thing that was left for me as a mystery was why they were there. Now, they set up at the second floor with the sniper, and they're looking out at some suspects. Were they supposed to go up there just to stake it out and look for priority targets that they, were told to look for, which we don't see?
Right.
I mean, the movie starts with a bit of camaraderie. They're watching that great music video, Call on Me. I even remember in high school when that was playing around, us as young men. I still listen to the song.
Another real moment in that movie, which I appreciated, was that scene.
Did you have that moment when you were?
All the time.
You watched that music video?
I have not. I've never seen that until this movie. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that was a real video. But no, just the group of guys stuck in Iraq, nerding out on something. That's very real. I mean, soldiers will act very goofy and silly, and
I imagine you have to.
That was very, when that opens up, I'm just like, yep.
yeah. They're on the street, and one of the guys he does the.
Yep. Again, very, very common.
I should probably do that in the other direction.
Don't
do it towards.
I mean, and then we can add this into it too.
Yeah. Oh.
Can you show the audience that?
What you brought?
One reason for bringing this, it is a 30 millimeter round. It is not specific to a particular part in that movie, but a vehicle that was used in that movie shot a 30 millimeter round. Now, this is not from that vehicle, so it's probably a little bit different. This is actually from an Apache attack helicopter. But just for reference, this is a 30 millimeter round, so it's very close to what was being used in some of the scenes of that movie, especially towards the end with the Bradleys.
They look like tanks. Modern, slightly smaller tanks from World War II. That's my layman interpretation of it. Is that fair to say? No. I fucked up.
It is. I spent 7 years in a Bradley unit. We don't like to be called tanks. We're not tanks, but
You're gonna kick
I
my
get
ass
it. It's
now.
a tracked vehicle. It looks like a tank. A Bradley it's a tracked vehicle, but it has, it carries soldiers onto the battlefield. It has a crew of 3, a driver, a gunner, and a BC or a Bradley commander. But it has the capability of carrying in the back infantry soldiers that get dropped off onto the battlefield. A tank is just a tank. It's got a crew and that's it. They don't drop off soldiers. It's just it's a touchy subject with infantry guys, especially Bradley guys that, we're not tankers. There is a difference.
So the reason that it has that proximity is because of
The
the
similarities
tracks.
of the track, yeah.
The track,
It's got the road wheels with the track,
Yeah.
and so I get it. It does. If you don't know, I get why people call it a tank. But
You better watch it, Dignan. You don't know what you're talking about right now.
And it is also a vehicle in this film, Warfare, is referred to as a. See, this is why I needed the notes. Something along the lines of Casevac?
Casevac.
Close enough.
They can be used as Casevac. We did that all the time.
Which means casualty evacuation.
Yeah. They can be used for both, bringing troops to the battle or taking wounded people off the battlefield. But the problem is with this movie is, and this is my only issue with it, the only issue was that is not a Bradley in these scenes.
You lied to me. You broke the rules, your rules.
Every time there's a Bradley scene, that's the issue, the only issue. Other than that,
Alex Garland, Mendoza, looks like you're gonna have to go back and do reshoots.
what's up with the Bradleys? Come on. So what this is, and I had to look it up and write it down. It's a GKN Foxtrot Victor 432 APC, which means Armored Personnel Carrier. Since they filmed it in England, they rented these vehicles from a military vehicle museum. You know, it's budgetary, I get that. Their vehicle shoots a 30 millimeter round, which the Bradley shoots a 25 millimeter round. So there is a difference, but they're very close in size, and what it's going to do, it's very similar.
I'm not gonna lower this any further down my body to avoid any censoring by YouTube.
Going to what you were saying, this is basically an everyday typical mission. This is the city of Ramadi, 60 miles to the west of Baghdad. That city had been kind of left alone for a while, so the insurgency was very strong without a lot of opposition.
When you say insurgency, you mean Al-Qaeda?
Al-Qaeda.
Or Al-Qaeda?
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Either way, works for me. Terrorists, you know, and there's always other factions. But what basically is going on, and this is November of 2006, I was in Western Baghdad, and we're doing very much the same thing. We are starting combat outposts. We're cops, COP, and we're moving off the big bases. We're gonna live in these neighborhoods, in these hot spots, to be closer to the action, but also closer to the locals that we're trying to help. And if we go on a mission, spend all day, then go back to a big base, these people are left all on their own, and then the insurgency can move around freely. So what these SEALs are doing, it's not really to just engage immediately unless they have to. It's just intel, watching. If anything does pop off, then they're there, they're ready, but this is an everyday thing.
They're investigating the town in general. They don't actually have a target that they're looking for.
Clearly, they wanted eyes on that building. They probably had some intel.
But we didn't know. That's the thing. The movie doesn't show us any setup. We get dropped into them in the middle of the night. They probably know that they need to get to that house. They've already selected it beforehand.
A reason to pick that house initially, they probably...
In relation to whatever building they needed to look over.
They probably knew that that was a hot spot, that building, and so we need to find a house close enough where we can watch it.
For the first 30 minutes of the movie is really to showcase the tedium of what it's like to be in that situation.
Oh yeah.
You're hearing a bit of comms go back and forth. You're not really sure. There is terminology that is not known to me.
Right.
I mean, you have to look some of this stuff up.
Yeah.
This is very layered and textured with the terminology. Is that fair to say?
And I guess I'm just biased, because I already know a lot of this stuff, so I don't think of it that way. But you're right. Now looking at it in that perspective, to a civilian who's never served or seen combat, this would be a very frustrating movie. I guess I can see that. Yeah.
I will admit that the first 25 minutes or so had me waiting in a way of maybe you could hurry this up a little bit more, like get to what we're, That's the thing with war films. It's not about wanting to see like Michael Bay-ish action. It's wanting to see a plot of whatever they're trying to explore here. And already it's set up that there really kind of isn't a plot because we don't get an introduction of, say like in Green Zone, they set up how this guy on the deck of cards, this guy, priority, blah, 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 blah. There's none of that. And it's minimal. This is a minimalistic war film, which can be a detriment in terms of it having broad appeal. I see this film, because of its nature and the way it portrays the events after that 30 minutes, as almost a disclaimer of what it's like to be in war when shit goes down. It is not glamorous. It's not trying to be a recruitment of any kind. It is showing how... Okay, so that's a difference. You think differently on that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, how so?
We've talked in the past about Black Hawk Down and what that did for recruitment at that time. I mean, there are certain people that are going to see something like that, and this is what I want to do. Now, I agree with you.
With warfare, it seems to be different. Black Hawk Down has a bit of glamorization.
It does.
Yeah.
That's why I love this movie, but I can see why it's not going to be your everyday war movie that you want to go and watch, because it doesn't really build on the characters. You don't know what is going on. This is just...
It's a bit claustrophobic.
A typical day in Iraq. Yeah. There you go. Goodbye.
And the moment of really when shit, goes out the window, or in Black Hawk Down when once that first bullet goes past your head, politics go right out the window.
Right out the window.
Yeah. Really, the thing that sets off everything into chaos is the IED that goes off when they're just trying to evacuate one guy that got some shrapnel in his arm.
That was from the grenade first.
From the grenade, right.
first.
That's the slow build, the little inciting incident, but the real big one is the IED goes off. That's when you get to see realities of war. You get to see, not in an exciting way, the gore that occurs. And you also are being put in the position in terms of the auditory effect and the mental state of what happens when someone is put in that scenario. How accurate, and this movie is made, co-written and co-directed by an actual vet.
Who was there?
How did it go for you?
I thought it was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, day in, day out, what they were doing in that building was an everyday thing.
Yeah.
And most days, like I said, is not going to be heavy action like they saw. It just happened to be that was one of the times. One of the things I liked was, seeing the sniper. They're uncomfortable, they're hot, having to look through that scope in that position for hours and hours. It's not that glamorous when you're having to do that for a long period of time.
Yeah. How did you feel about the moment when they switch off and the guy could have taken a shot that apparently they wanted or expected him to? Yeah, and we got a couple people saying that.
Yeah. Again, just that brotherhood of just picking on each other, and that's very common.
It reminded me of the line in Mad Max Fury Road.
Mediocre. Then the grenade gets tossed in. More war movies than not will show this massive fireball explosion.
Yep.
That's not a grenade. What they portrayed in that movie, that's a grenade. It's devastating, it could definitely kill. That was very realistic to a grenade.
It must have been accurate because the guy who needed to be evac'd out of there, he did get some shrapnel. So would you say it was a bad move what he did when the grenade came into the room and he rolled onto the ground? Wouldn't it be beneficial to stay on that elevation? He was on a table with some cushions and
that
shit.
That very much crossed my mind multiple times. I honestly thought, first time seeing it, why didn't he just stay on his platform?
Yep.
But he's been sitting in that position for a very long time, exhausted, hot. You gotta remember, there's no AC in these buildings.
Yeah.
They're kit. It's 120 degrees outside.
Right.
Sometimes you don't do exactly the right thing in that moment. And I did wonder why, but I wasn't him in that moment. And he rolled off on the ground, and that is what it is. Then you have the guys coming, a few guys on that second story, and they're shooting at them, and that's another thing. The firefight, those sounds, absolutely realistic. The cracks, the pops.
Yeah, the sound design of the movie. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Heat, the shootout. The raw nature of those gunshots, the sound design, they left in echoes of hearing just the reverb on that street. And you kind of got that sense here. Soon afterwards, you have the ID go off. I wanted to ask you, how accurate was that explosion? I even saw flares spray out.
Well,
was that too Hollywood? Was that accurate?
No, I caught that when I watched it too, but they do say at some point in the movie, one of the wounds, I think it was in his leg, he said, it's burning.
Yeah.
And I think someone said phosphorus.
Uh-huh.
White phosphorus will do that. Willie Pete is what we call it. Now with the enemy, I don't know. There's all kinds of IEDs that were being used.
Okay.
All the ones I experienced did not have the phosphorus going off like that, but it's not impossible. But as far as the explosion and everything else, yeah, very realistic. The dust and the reaction of the soldiers on the ground, whether wounded or just disorientation, the hearing loss initially, and the way things sounded, I thought, again, they did a great job portraying that as well.
So one of the things that I appreciated in terms of performance with Joseph Quinn, it felt very accurate when he has his legs just torn to shreds, that when he's in pain, at first he's shouting, but then throughout the rest of the time, he's really gritting his teeth through the pain. And it's the, yeah, that felt very realistic.
There's a thing in the military, suffer in silence. Now that's an extreme wound, and I get the screaming, but yeah, he's trying to control it. He's trying his best, just because it also adds confusion to the rest of the men around him. And then what gets me is the other SEAL team comes, And then you get that one guy, and there's always that one guy. You're a frogman, toughen up, and stepping on his leg.
Well, he's just carelessly walking past him, and he nicks his leg a little bit, and it's just, one would think that you go back to the term band of brothers, is that they would be very considerate of each other, but
no, you're always gonna have that one guy.
So they were separated by teams, and those teams are kind of.
Well, they're seals. They're very much.
Yeah.
You know, the frogmen are bonded like no other.
Yeah, but is it fair when you have one team and then another? They're very insulated with each other, and they kind of look differently at another team.
Again, I'm not a SEAL.
Okay.
All I can say is that's a very close-knit brotherhood. It's one of the strongest bonds probably on the planet. I would have to disagree, but again, there's going to be that,
I posed it as a
one
question
guy.
because of the way that he behaved.
Yeah, no, there's just going to be that one guy who just has to be the ultra badass. Literally, this guy's probably going to lose that leg, and you're slapping him on that leg, tell him to toughen up because you're a frogman. It's like, all right, come on, and steps on it like he doesn't even.
Yeah.
You got guys from all walks of life coming together, and they have a common bond, but they still have different personalities, and that comes out. That does come out.
Mendoza was there. He's adapting these events.
Yeah.
Because why would he make up something that could show the Navy SEALs in a bad light, right?
Well, it's not a bad light. I mean,
well,
those guys have their place. They do. Those super tough, badass. I gotta look tougher than the rest. You want those guys with you too.
No shit.
There's something I wanted to ask you, which you brought up off camera, was if you could go back, you would, and that being in combat is something that you desire, is something that you look back on fondly.
Yeah.
Come on in, you psycho.
How does that work?
So there's just something to it that, even though I know it sounds crazy, a simplicity to it, even though it's at the same time one of the worst situations ever. I mean, it's war as hell, but things just tend to make more sense. And I hear a lot of my friends say that as well, that I serve with. It's simple in a way. Just doing what you have to do to get through another day. But you have that camaraderie, you have that brotherhood that even goes beyond brothers. It's the time you spend with these individuals is just so intense amount of time. There's such a closeness. It's more than brothers. And so you have that aspect too, and I think that plays a big part of it.
Do you think it would have been better, just in general, for you and for others, that the combat itself, the adrenaline, all that it wouldn't become a fixation, right? Do you think that would have a positive impact or a negative impact on warfare? Not the movie, just actual warfare,
For most, once you've experienced it, it's hard to, the aspect that any moment could be it. Horrific things could happen to you while you're there, but I don't know why it's such an impact on the rest of your life. It's an experience like no other. I mean, I don't know how you can even compare it. It changes you. My goal was to stay in longer. Yeah, I mean, if I could go back to that in a way, I would, absolutely, but I'd be more cautious of just joining up and doing, we became very patriotic at that time after 9/11, myself included, and I even wonder why, looking back, why were we there? But I will say it doesn't matter, because we did a lot of good, and a lot of people won't understand that. I was there firsthand. I saw what it was, and I saw my last deployment was when we closed Iraq in 2012, and there was a huge difference, and that was wonderful to see. Schools open, shops open, people starting to get to be able to live their lives again. And now it didn't go that well afterwards, but we did some good. I fully believe that. I saw it. The WMD thing, Shores, well, we went there. Saddam and his sons were horrible. They definitely needed to go. The whole country literally collapsed. All services ended. I mean, even trash pickup was non-existent. So you got to see a country in complete and utter collapse. Just about, I can't say everyone, but most Iraqis were very pleased that Saddam was gone. So that was good. But from my experience, and I know other guys I served with felt the same way, the longer we got to see them without someone like Saddam, we also noticed they seemed to need somebody like that. And I hate to say that, but it did feel like they needed a dictator. You know, we tried to bring him some freedom and, you know, I don't want to say democracy per se, but it just didn't seem to click over there very well.
Why don't we get back to warfare for a little bit? The movie goes into evac mode where that's basically the whole goal after the ID goes off. And that's the rest of the movie. There are some distractions that they implement. They have a aircraft do a flyover, create a smoke screen or a dust screen in this case.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite smart. I mean, I can imagine how much dust this thing kicks up, you know?
Yeah. I've never witnessed that, but yeah.
Well, it's smart because it's not a destructive thing. It's using the natural environment to create a protection.
You're not supposed to inhale.
The way that they shot the movie essentially is, so they created the sets and everything else around it is done through CGI and set extensions. You know, they had a blue screen some
like
ways down the road,
yeah.
You know, and where they shot this, beyond it, those blue screens, it's probably a regular town and somewhere, who knows, in London somewhere. That's impressive. The CGI is seamless. You can't tell. It looks great. All the special effects that they put in there are very well done. I thought it was great and how they executed it. It's a slice of what it's like to be in war. It's not really a plot-driven movie. It's an experience or an experiential
just a day in
film.
Life of a soldier.
Yeah. It felt like a quasi-documentary.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of concludes very quickly. Once they get into those Bradleys, they destroy the top half of the building and they...
Which is awesome.
Yeah. One of the guys pretends to be a CO and calls in to get the evac in there.
Do what you got to do for your men.
I mean, what kind of consequences would he have for doing that? Would he have faced any consequences?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but that
Very
doesn't
possible,
matter.
But
that doesn't matter.
And that's why when he was told, he kind of pauses for a second because he knows, like, you're asking me to impersonate commanding officer. Thinks about it for like 2 seconds, and then he does it. And I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Another little detail: Ray Mendoza's character, his notebook, the way the pages are folded. That's exactly how everyone folded their paper in their notebooks, because we always had little notebooks and we always did the same thing. You fold one paper in a triangular and then the next paper opposite. The creases on his paper are exactly how we would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there was no reason to put that much detail into that movie, but they did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't going to even care about that.
Right.
It doesn't even really matter, but attention to detail.
It's important, and even though I don't know those details, there are other movies that commit to details for something that could be just portraying daily life, right? Those kinds of things I appreciate, and that's something that's important that when filmmakers are making movies about war should be oriented and thinking about. So it's good that there's more of a standard out there now. You have the TV show Terminal List that it seems to be doing that as well. These are shows and movies that are being adapted in collaboration with people that have actually been in combat. And I think that's really important. Not just people that are advisors, but also they're involved in a creative capacity. Now the film itself is, it ends pretty abruptly, where they just get out and the insurgents, they walk out onto that street in a cluster, and I almost thought that there was going to be all of a sudden a bomb drops on them.
I was hoping for that. I was like, please just take them out.
I mean, you have the stealth up above
couple
them,
hellfires.
Whether it be a drone or a stealth aircraft that's monitoring downward, but they don't. The family that is in the house, they realize that everyone is gone. I thought that the insurgents were going to mow them down in that, wide shot of them walking towards the window, but they don't. Almost as a commentary of like, look what happens when, America occupies another country. And hey, there's some criticism to be had there. But no, that doesn't do that. I was surprised that it didn't happen like that, because Alex Garland is actually, he leans to the left, but he's more left of center. That's why I think he was able to accomplish this movie in the way that he does without implementing any kind of messaging or bias. Yeah. It's just very cold and calculated of, this is how it is. This is almost a cautionary tale. of the reality of it. It's not rah-rah war kind of thing. It's a kind of movie that I think should be shown to people. It's not a piece of entertainment, though it's harrowing and is intense.
Yeah.
So in that way it works. And I would recommend people watch it if they want to see the reality of being in this kind of situation. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the best movie of the year, but it's not. It kind of doesn't fall into that category. It's
it's a niche film.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, I could because this year is kind of lacking, to be honest, when it comes to the best kinds of movies we've seen over the past 30 years of movies. You have so many movies that trump. I said it. Yeah, use a word. Yeah. Trigger word.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Given the context of this year, yeah, I mean, I would put it under a recommendation for sure. And I suppose just by default, it would be one of the better movies of this year. So, okay. Yeah, all right.
Gotta appreciate how real it is, because yes, people's homes in Iraq would be taken over and used just like this. Now, what they don't show in the movie that people do need to understand this, anytime there was ever damage done or situations like this, the family would be given a voucher and they could turn that in and basically they would get money to repair the damage done.
Interesting.
And that was always the case.
Wow.
We would have these voucher cards, and even if, we kicked in doors 100 times a day sometimes and, we damaged a door, here's your voucher card.
Wow.
Obviously, if it's an actual terrorist or a high-value target, they're
fuck
not
them.
going to get a voucher card. But if it's just a family,
Yeah.
and and that's the unfortunate side of war that, like I said, I appreciate that they showed is, people are going to look at this film, I'm sure, and say, how dare they do this? But you're fighting in a war in a built-up city. This is Ramadi, but let's talk about Baghdad, where there's give or take 10 million people. You have to set up these overwatches, which means you have to enter these homes because your goal is to ultimately protect these people by getting rid of the insurgency. But if you notice too, when the Bradleys at the end were going to level the top decks of all these homes, what did these soldiers do? They put themselves over the family, protected them.
Yep.
Even though it seems cold what they were doing to this family, they were also in charge of keeping them safe. And that was a main priority as well. And that shows that right there.
And that's what makes America's soldiers who they are.
Yeah.
Makes them distinct in that way. That there is a morality there.
Absolutely.
That there is a humanity that's still intact.
Yeah. There are times where you just want to say, fuck it and just destroy it all. But I would say, went above and beyond doing the very best we could, not just
contributing chaos.
Right.
So what would you say about Warfare? It's the best movie you've seen this year?
This year by far.
Okay.
But I also haven't seen a lot of movies this year.
Well,
so.
I'm aware that as a
obviously
possibility.
I'm biased because, since my time in service, I have not seen a good movie based on that war or that region, period. And so I've been waiting. It's like, there are some good stories to tell from this war. Why is it so hard to portray one? And this was the first one out of really all of them, I would say, that has to do with Iraq, And so I enjoyed it. It was about as real as a movie can get. We have tons of movies on World War II, Vietnam, you name it, even Afghanistan, at least a lot of good documentaries. In Iraq, it seems like it's just nothing. And what is there is, most of it's pretty pathetic. Very unrealistic, very Hollywood, very no, this is not it at all. And so to me, that sucks. So that's why I was very appreciative of this movie. Anybody else who wants to mimic Ray Mendoza, please bring it on. Iraq 2007, where are the movies? That was the height of the entire war right there. A lot of stories can be told.
Mission accomplished, huh?
I mean, if Tom Cruise can pull it off, okay.
Oh no, I was referencing on the aircraft carrier. Bush.
Oh, I got you.
It's
now.
in green
Well,
zone.
you were, yeah, mission accomplished, yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Oops.
How do you think he did? I think he did great. Chris was nervous to be on the show and do this review.
I'm not accustomed to being
Yeah.
filmed or anything. This is a first, but
Well, this is ironic.
Hollywood, watch out! Here I come.
Right? This is the ironic thing is that you have someone who has been in combat and has experienced the intensity of things that are facsimiles to the movie we're talking about, yet being on camera, it's kind of a paradox. It's an irony as well, you know? So, you know, this is the kind of thing that you discover that not a lot of people would know. And I don't see a lot of people sitting down with veterans talking in this way, especially, you know, channels that are movie centric and having different guests on. That's why I like doing this type of thing. Per risk of sounding cheesy, it's an honor that you're here, that I was able to talk to you about the movie.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All
Thanks
right.
for the wonderful cigar and this opportunity, and very, very much appreciative of it. Thank you.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
See, I was gonna start the video off this way. Here now, audience, I am sitting here with Sam Worthington from Avatar and Hacksaw Ridge. It's gonna be a
I
zoom
always
in.
thought, you know, more Brad Pitt from like Legends of the Fall minus the hair, but okay.
Here, can you show the audience with the hat off? Maybe I'm gonna cut to. Oh, you need the hair. You need the hair a little bit more because I don't.
What?
Sam Worthington. I don't know if he
I don't know
shaved
Sam
it.
Worthington.
But an Avatar. I told you about it.
I know, and I haven't seen that movie since
Oh, okay.
it came out, so.
Okay. Another thing to mention is, do you want to hear more from Chris and me about movies? Because we've been talking about considering other discussions involving war films. So
Top 5 war films, the
Spoilers.
best, you know, you name it, we can do it.
Yeah. So
We,
mention if you'd like to see that. Okay.
what's your top 5?
See,
Huh?
he's got good ideas. He's got better ideas than I do.
I got a few others.
And that's it.
Thank you.
That's it. We did it.
And thank you for watching.
And we did it.